Hey everyone, how's you doing today? Today is another day of Gossip TV. What we got today? This video is dedicated to all the EV vehicle drivers. For 2026, you guys need to watch out. And if you're trying to buy an electric vehicle, you need to think about this first before you buy it. So I'm gonna start playing this video and let us know about this pay per mile for 2026 because yeah. It's a madness.
Up their car with petrol or diesel, approximately 53 pence per litre is actually fuel duty tax. People who charge electric vehicles don't pay this tax.
Do you see that? I'm gonna rewind that. So £30 and 80 pence of this fuel is duty. So basically, when you look at it, let's get this calculator out. Car. We need to give you guys accurate numbers. Because Lord God. Because we need to understand what we're doing when it comes to buying this. So okay. So £81, 81.96 minus 30, so 51, so 51 pounds 16 goes to the person that owns the petrol station. Then the £30 and 80 pence is tax. You know that percentage is crazy. That's like 40%. It's wild. And so electric vehicles don't pay this. So that's why you think, okay, it seems like, yeah, you know what we're getting because it's not imported, you see. You just get the power from UK, from energy source or whatever. That's why they doing that. So but let's carry on listening. Let's carry on listening.
Vehicles don't pay this tax, and the government are saying this is becoming a problem because they predict that by the 2030s, the government is going to be missing out on approximately £12 billion a year due to people driving electric vehicles. 12 billion.
What you guys are forcing people to get, I don't understand. You guys are forcing people to get these electric vehicles, and now is a problem because in a few years you're gonna be losing £12 billion. Who cares? At the end of the day, we was happy paying that money. We was literally happy paying that money. What is happening? We was happy paying all that money. Then you guys decided to change it and you want electric, but now it's another problem. Come on, man. Like, make it make sense. Like,
Pounds. To an individual, that's an unthinkable amount of money. But what is it to a country? Well, let's put it into perspective. Last year in England, £12 billion was enough to pay for 70% of all GP doctors' appointments. So yes, £12 billion is not only an incredible amount of money for an individual, it's also a lot of money for a country. So the government are saying it's time electric vehicle owners start paying their own form of fuel duty, and they're calling it EV ED. Everybody else is calling it pay per mile road tax. And this isn't instead of yearly road tax. This is in addition to yearly road tax. In the same way a petrol or diesel owner has to pay yearly road tax and then pay fuel duty on top of that, electric vehicle owners are going to have to pay yearly road tax.
see how they lure them in. I remember people were like, yeah, I'm gonna get an electric vehicle because I don't have to pay road tax, I don't have to pay this, I don't have to pay that. But now you're paying road tax on top of that, you're paying this EVED. That is wild. I wonder how much it is. Let's see the breakdown, see how it
And
works
then
out.
pay per mile road tax. In this video, I'm not going to tell you whether I think it's a good or bad idea. That's up to you. I'm not going to give you my opinion. I've just read through the details and I'm going to tell you how it's going to work because actually it's not that simple. Also, I'm going to tell you how much it costs compared to fuel duty on petrol and diesel and how you can still have your say, because although the government aren't exactly singing about this, there is a public consultation open where you can have your say until March 2026. EVED, or pay per mile road tax, should start from April 2028, and for privacy reasons there are going to be no trackers tracking vehicles to record.
So it's 2028. Okay. So guys, with electric vehicles, you got 3 years to sell your cars.
Mileage. Instead, what's going to happen is when an EV driver goes to tax their vehicle, They also need to tell the DVLA how many miles they expect to do over the next year, and then pay up front for that year's worth of mileage. There is an option though, instead of paying up front for
That is correct. It makes sense though, because my road tax right now for my diesel car, I actually pay monthly about £28 a month. So if it was to, how much is it? All right, let's see if it was to, if it was 12p per mile, yeah, and then let's do times, say the range is 150, so that's £18 per full tank. And on top of that, they have to charge. So it costs about 30, £40 to fill up your electric vehicle power. Then on top of that, you pay £18. And if that lasts a week, 150 mile range a week, that's times four. So that's like 18 times four. You're paying £72 a month extra with, let's say it's £30 a week to charge your vehicle, and let's do that times four as well. That's 120. So that's like 182 pounds a month. I mean, it's still not bad. It's still not bad, but you're still saving money, I guess.
the whole year to pay monthly. By the end of the year, if the driver has driven less miles than they have paid for, the excess mileage rolls over to the next year. Or if they have driven more miles than they have paid for, and I'm calling this mileage debt, if they are in mileage debt, they have two options. They can pay off that mileage debt in one lump sum, or they can spread that debt over the next 12 payments for their next year's worth of pay per mile tax. So that mileage debt will be added to the payments they'll be paying next year. So how are the government going to know how many miles each car is covering?
See what they're doing. So see that £72 that I worked out you're paying a month. In a diesel car, normally you'd be paying that extra £30 each time you top up. But with them, each time you top up, but the only difference is, so with diesel, with a diesel car that the full tank is £100, you will get about 500-600 miles on it on the clock for £100 petrol, 500-600 pound. So if I was to do the maths, Lord God, if I was to do the maths, 12 pence, yeah, times 500. That's £60 extra. So you're actually better off getting a diesel car because you're now paying £60 extra each time you fill up your tank. On top of that, that's not even including the whatever you pay to top up your diesel, or not diesel, your electric car. So the plug-in thing, the fast charge, whatever, you pay about £30, £40 to charge it there, plus £60. So it's costing you same amount as someone driving a 4x4. So you'll be paying literally £100 a month. You know, not a month. Sorry, you'll be paying £100 each time you fill up, each time you charge up. So if you tell them, oh yeah, you'll be doing like 10,000 a year, and you end up doing more, you owe them money. But with diesel, you can fill up your tank and drive to Scotland and back. It's you. If you don't have the money, you don't have the money. You gotta use to think about it, man. It does not make sense at all. That is daylight
Are they
robbery.
going to rely on the word of the driver? No. They're going to use the vehicle's MOT as a checkpoint to record how many miles that car has covered. And for cars under 3 years old that don't need a yearly MOT, there will be
That's true, because literally they have access. When you go on Total Car Check, for example, the free app, anyone can check it. Pardon me. You type in your reg on there, you see your last 2 years, not last 3 years MOT and everything, how much miles is done. So that's true. That's easy for them to find out.
a new mileage check for those cars, a yearly mileage check, probably at an MOT garage to record the mileage. It may not be at an MOT garage though, that's still up for debate. You can give your opinion on that in the consultation. What about if you want to sell your car? Do you get your money back for the mileage you haven't used? No, the miles stay with the car. So if you prepay for
But electric vehicle and diesel vehicle, hybrid, whatever, when you sell your car, you get a check of your money back. Whatever. If you paid yearly, they'll send the rest of the money back for the road tax. And I know that because I've received my money back before.
10,000 worth of miles and you use
Another reason why you should be getting a electric or diesel. But hey, I'm not electric, petrol or diesel. But let's carry on.
1,000 of those, 9,000 miles goes to the next owner. But if you're also in 2,000 miles worth of debt on that car, you've paid for 10,000 miles, but you've covered 12,000 miles, you've got 2,000 miles that need paying, the next owner gets that as well. The mileage stays with the car.
Yes.
So when you will be buying a used car, you want to check.
So you're telling me if someone says that they're gonna be covering 5,000 a year of in mileage, and they end up doing 20, and they sell the car to me, I now have to pay 15,000. Yeah, that is wild. They need to come up with a better solution.
Whether or not it's got prepaid mileage on it or whether or not it's in debt, and that's going to be reflected in how much you're going to pay for that car. Just make sure you check so that you are not surprised after buying the car. It seems the government wants the mileage to stay with the car, credit mileage or debt mileage, to keep things simple, but there is a way to get a refund for any mileage you haven't used. If you declare your car off-road, technical term being sawn, then there is an option to ask for a refund for any mileage that you've prepaid for that you haven't used. But generally, unless you choose that option, the mileage, credit or debt stays with the car. So if you declare it off-road and it's 9,000 miles in credit or 9,000 miles in debt, it stays with the car, and then when you put the car back on the road, you get to use that mileage, or if it's in debt, you then have to pay for that debt. This is where I can see a bit of a flaw in the system, because if when you declare your car off-road, any debt mileage the car has stays with the car, it doesn't have to be settled when you declare it off-road, it stays with the car until the next time you put it on the road, then it's quite unlikely, I know, but if someone's got loads of land and they've got an old car and they just can't be bothered to sell it, it's not worth anything, and they get it in loads of mileage debt, instead of scrapping it, they could just leave it in a field, declare it off-road, and never pay the debt. That's how it reads at the moment. I'm sure they won't leave it like that, but from what I'm reading in the consultation paper at the moment, it seems like that could happen. If a car is scrapped, then a final mileage is taken, and then the liability for whether the car is in credit or debt will be determined in terms of EVED. It doesn't say though you would get a refund if the car is scrapped and you're in mileage credit. I'm assuming you would, but it doesn't say that. And also there is a bit of a problem here in the paper that I'm reading. If a car is badly damaged to the point where you can't get a final mileage reading, let's say it's been on fire, then how do you get the final mileage reading? How do you determine whether the car is in credit in terms of mileage or in debt? All they say is further consideration will be given. What does that mean? It seems like they don't quite know what to do if a car gets scrapped and it's not possible to get a mileage off the car. But what about if you're driving abroad? Well, you still have to pay the pay per mile road tax, and that's because the government have said that the proportion of mileage that's done outside of the UK by UK cars is so small that it's just not worth trying to implement a system to decide whether or not a car is driving in the UK or out of the UK, because to do this would impact privacy. So how much is this going to cost an EV driver? Well, the government still want to incentivise people into electric vehicles, so they want to make this pay per mile charge cheaper than fuel duty, and they've gone for half. At the moment, the average motorist using a petrol or diesel car pays approximately £480 per year in fuel duty. So the government have come up with 3 pence per mile, because 3 pence per mile translates to around about £240 per year to the average EV driver. And for plug-in hybrids, they're not quite sure, because someone could have a plug-in hybrid and
Okay, so it's 3 pence per mile. 3 pence per mile. I mean, I guess it is still cheaper than it's still cheap, but it's just so much. It's just like a headache, man. You gotta do this and declare this and declare that before you get your road tax. So you don't even pay. They won't even pay. Like they won't even tax your car if you don't have money to pay per mile. And you have to let them know how many miles you're gonna be doing for the year. That is wild. That's
Mostly
crazy.
drive it on electricity or mostly drive it on petrol. So they've just gone with half, 1.5 pence per mile, which is going to translate to around about one.
Hybrid cars have to pay. Oh Lord. All this Uber drivers driving this Toyota. Not what's it called again? I forgot what them cars are called. Them Toyotas, them silver ones, them hybrid ones. They have to pay 1.5 pence per mile. Yeah, it's not looking good.
£120 per year on average. The government have said that during the early years of EVED, pay per mile car tax, that they are going to reinvest the money to help people get into electric vehicles. They're going to invest the money in new charging infrastructure, into the next generation of zero emission technology, and into grants to help people buy electric vehicles. But this electric car grant for new electric cars already exists. It's just that the total budget has gone up so it can go on for longer. The grant itself is the same, it's just the number of grants that will be able to be given has increased. At the moment, if you go and buy a brand new electric car that qualifies for this grant, the taxpayer is actually paying £3,500 towards your new electric vehicle, and in total until financial year 2029-2030 is going to cost the taxpayer a total of £2 billion. Have you ever heard of vehicle excise duty expensive car supplement? Most people just call it luxury car tax. This is how it works. Brand new vehicles that cost more than £40,000 are subjected to an additional road tax over and above the standard road tax. You have to pay both for the first 5 years. At the moment, it's £425 per year over and above the standard road tax that you would also need to pay. After 5 years, you don't need to pay it. Or after the 5th time you've paid it, you don't need to pay it. By the time the car is 6 years old, you don't need to pay it. Now, what the government are going to do to try and incentivise people into electric vehicles is raise that threshold from £40,000 to £50,000, meaning all electric vehicles under £50,000 won't be subjected to this luxury car tax. Other vehicles that are powered by petrol, diesel, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, they are still going to have a threshold of £40,000. What this does is it actually saves approximately 1 million EV drivers from having to pay the luxury car tax. So it's clear the government still want to incentivise people to buy electric vehicles, grants towards new electric vehicles, investing in infrastructure, reducing taxes on electric vehicles, but then introducing a new tax, pay per mile, to replace fuel duty. Isn't that odd to introduce a new tax whilst they're trying to incentivise people to buy electric vehicles?
This is what it is, though, isn't it? They call a tax different names, so it doesn't. So it's like you're paying for something different, but it's like it's the money is still going to the same pocket. So, Lord God.
Well, it does make something possible. It means that the tax is being introduced whilst there are still plenty of incentives, plenty of reasons to buy an electric vehicle. And then when enough people are buying electric vehicles and the government feel they don't need to incentivise people to buy them, they can slowly take away those incentives whilst there's already a tax in place replacing fuel duty. And then eventually the EV driver can pay just as much tax as a petrol or diesel driver. Or maybe
More. Or maybe more.
even more. Who knows what's in the future? In simple terms, what I'm trying to say is they're introducing this new tax whilst there are plenty of incentives to buy electric vehicles. And for many people, these incentives outweigh this new tax. This new tax, average motorist, £240 a year. The incentives are saving the EV driver, in many cases, much more than £240 per year. It may be harder for people to accept this new tax at a time when they're actually taking away these incentives. It'll be a double whammy. This pay per mile system doesn't take into account how efficient the vehicle is or how the vehicle is being driven. With fuel duty, if someone buys an inefficient vehicle, they pay more fuel duty. If they drive it in an inefficient way, they pay more fuel duty, and vice versa. If they drive it economically, they use less fuel, they pay less fuel duty. But with 3p per mile, which is going up with inflation, it doesn't matter what you're driving. You could be driving a
3 pence per mile that's going up with inflation. So by 2028, that when this thing goes into action, you might end up paying probably like 8, 9 pence per mile. Because every April is going to increase, let's be honest. It's going to increase. APR is definitely going to increase.
ton SUV or a little Dacia Spring, you're paying the same, 3p per mile. You can be driving like a bat out of hell, or you could be driving very carefully and economically, 3p per mile. Now you may think, well, electric
Let's see what they're saying. So, like, for example, in a diesel car, if you live in London, you're driving a diesel car, you'll be burning so much petrol because you're always pressing your brakes. Always pressing your brake, it drops. It burns a lot more petrol. But when you're in a motorway, it's more friendly. I see what you're saying. Then, of course, with the electric, no matter where you drive or how you drive, you're paying the same amount. But my question is charging points. All this queue outside a petrol station, people looking to charge their cars and stuff. Extra bill for your electric. People don't want to put on the heating at home in the winter because the energy price has gone sky high. But on top of that, they have to charge their car. If you live in flats, you can't do it. So those are the important parts as well. We want to hear about those.
cars, well, they're not polluting, but electric cars do pollute. They use electricity, and that electricity needs to be created, and that generates CO2. And some electric cars use a lot more electricity.
This is what I'm saying. So even though it doesn't pollute from the car, but generating the energy source, the power, the electricity, it pollutes. So you're not polluting it from the car, but to bring the energy out, you're still polluting it. Like, honestly, I don't see how we're winning here. There's only one person winning.
Than others. Big, heavy electric cars use more electricity per mile generally than smaller, light electric cars. So this pay per mile system doesn't seem to differentiate between what sort of vehicle a person is driving and how much wear they're having on the road from the weight of it, and also how that car is being driven. If you want to have your say and give your opinions, there is a public consultation open. I'll leave a link in the description to that consultation. It's open until the 18th of March 2026. If you found the video interesting, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're looking for car insurance, check out the links to
Hey guys, ah, this is wild, man. This is crazy. This is so wild. So yeah, just to let you guys know, this is gonna be a difficult one, but at the end of the day, you have to understand that your pocket comes first, man. Your pocket comes first. So the government gonna do what they want to do to try but obviously the end result is yours if you're willing to. So you have to kind of work out. For me, after listening to this video, what makes sense to me right now is, you will still you're saving money in an electric vehicle. If you live in a house, then yes, of course, you can get electric vehicle. If you live in a flat, it's a bit hard for you to get electric vehicle, especially if you ain't got charging. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you need to have a charging port in your house, so you can always leave with a full tank. You know, and if you don't have a charging source in your house, then you have to rethink of what you want to do. But in the long run, you can save money in electric car, 100% you can. But it's all preference. It's all preference. For me, I can't. You know, who knows? Who knows in future they might bully me into getting an electric vehicle, who knows? But until then, it's your boy. Another day of Gossip TV, A Dog TV. Please, if you like this video, can you help me subscribe, comment, and let me know what to react to next, so I can, whatever topic you want me to react to, just let me know and I'll react to it. I'm posting every single day. It's 2026, baby. We're here for it. We're here for everything. You feel me? So it's your boy. Another day of Gossip TV. Peace out and love.